if you think that this was a bad thing to come back, you're dumb, and you should not be trusted with money because you probably bought an account that had it on it. This is obviously an objectively good thing. Overwatch 2 Season 11 is hitting its end today by the time this video goes out, and I wanted to do a retrospective on this season, basically talk about what I thought was good, what was bad, what was all over the place, just kind of give my thoughts about it. But overall, I'm going to say this was definitely one of the seasons of all time. I don't think it was particularly bad per se, but there are a couple of things that I'm just not a huge fan of, and, you know, a lot of times in the direction. So we're going to go through all the things that Blizzard did to Overwatch, what they added, all that stuff. We'll also look at the patches and see how those were. And then I'll kind of give you some hopes for Season 12 that are a little more directly related to this. Now, I have plenty of videos discussing a lot of these topics, so forgive me, I'm going to go a little fast through some of them, especially ones that are much more recent, because I feel like I've already talked about them. But there's a couple of things here that I've never actually really talked about before, so you know, let's just go ahead and we'll start with the theme, right? This is Super Mega Ultra Watch. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this theme very much. I thought it was kind of sick. I think it's a really cool, fun one. Just like that whole Power Rangers-esque Bugman aesthetic, you know, like that soldier skin. I thought it was cool. I think the Mythic skin, the Ash skin, I think is really sick. I think they did a really good job with this one. The sound effects are great. The visuals are great. I think the skins that went with it, for the most part, I liked a lot. I like that Reaper skin. I like that Sojourn skin. You know, the other ones that there were in the shop, and I could go either way. But yeah, I thought this was pretty good. A pretty good theme, especially for a season that isn't like a big one, right? This is kind of like one of those in-between seasons. Decent theme. Pretty interesting. It's not going to have the most people coming back to it, but, you know, I think a lot of people appreciate it. Also, talking about like the sub theme for this season, the lifeguard stuff. I like those skins too. I actually got the Lifeweaver one because I just I like it a lot. I think they've done a really good job with Lifeweaver skins. I think they kind of hit it out of the park every time. I think Kyrie's is good. I think Hogs is good. The recolors whatsoever, we'll kind of get to those later. But the sub theme, again, it doesn't really match the main theme, but I kind of like the idea. It's like, okay, for like 2 weeks, you'll get like a little extra themed pack of skins. And I think that's going to happen for this next season with like the bank, like the heist skins, the characters with like the animal masks. I kind of like that. I think it's a good way to keep the season fresh, like halfway, and be like, oh, there's kind of like a new mini theme that you can explore, I guess. I don't know. I think it's fine. So yeah, let me see here. So the Calamity Empress, blah blah blah. We're gonna get to the Mythic weapon, so we'll hold off on that. How was this battle pass overall? To be honest with you, I don't quite remember. I think it had the Mauga skin, which I think is great. Honestly, if I remember correctly, it really wasn't that bad. But the battle passes are always kind of all over the place. It's not really much to talk about there. The shop skins as well. I think these Kaiju skins. Oh, these were like the premium battle pass. I think these skins were sick. I like them a lot on theme. Pink Mercy. This was awesome to see. You always love to see when Blizzard knows that they can make millions of dollars for breast cancer research, and they just do it, right? I will say that, you know, you could make an argument like, why didn't they launch this sooner? Having such a long time in between them will definitely boost the sales and thus boost the donation to breast cancer research. So really, any time they would have brought it back is great. And there's an argument to be made that waiting longer and longer could actually give them more. But I feel like if you think that this was a bad thing to come back, you're dumb. And you should not be trusted with money because you probably bought an account that had it on it. So this is obviously an objectively good thing to have. Community crafted. In fact, we're going to get to that in just a second. So give me one last pass through this one. Log in and play to earn free rewards. I guess they had this. It's not really much. Some drops. Runesapi. Runesapi, I think, is... I honestly haven't played it so much over the past 2 months. I feel like I haven't gotten really sink my teeth into this map. But my impressions are really positive. I think it's really interesting. It plays pretty uniquely to the other push maps. I think its layout is unique but not really awkward. There's a lot of flanking and a lot of like longer angles that you can take, but a lot of good ways to contest those without it feeling like super oppressive, right? It's definitely interesting. It's new. I don't think it plays itself. And that's fun. I really liked kind of exploring this map. I think the visuals on this map are great. It just looks really nice, and I think they did a really good job with Arena Sapi. I'm not going to call it my favorite push map yet because I don't have that much time with it, but cool. Kiriko and Soldier 76, I don't know if anyone's ever done these. They keep making these. I feel like they are just really easy to make, and the dev team like doing them. No harm, no foul. There's nothing much to them. If you like them, good for you. If you don't, who cares, right? What else is new? Yes, so the Colosseo rework. I definitely don't loathe this map as much as I used to. In fact, I don't really. Every time I've gotten Colosseo, I've been decently like positive on it. I think you have some really good games here. There's still a couple pain points, some weird spots here and there. Attacking that high ground area before the first checkpoint is still kind of miserable. But other than that, I think Colosseo has definitely improved a lot since this rework. So I think it was really, really successful there. Okay, let's talk about the community crafted game mode. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I did a whole video ranking or rating the changes in here. But this is, I think this is a really, really fun thing that they should do a lot more often. Just some kind of like weird, like, hey, just here's some fun arcade game mode. Tie a content creator to it. You have a couple people come back and play. This is great. I think this is a good way to keep it fresh, especially when you change heroes and you make them interesting, give them crazy stuff. I think people really do just want to like try it out and see what they did. I really like when they do this. It's kind of like when they do the April Fool's event, when they do Mirror Watch, stuff like that. Those are definitely the game modes that get people in the most because they're the most interesting. And I love to see this, and I'm sure that since this is, I don't think this is coming back for what's it called? Anniversary, because it just happened. But I would probably assume that we can look out for some of this in the future. I think we'll probably see this again. It's great. I really liked it. So good on them. I think this was a fun one. All right. Then we got this director's take talking about tanks. Now this was really more of like how is the meta feel after season 11 launched, and they were talking about it. And they say like tank is still in a bad spot, even though they changed the passives already. And so they wanted to get the tankiness or the survivability of these characters back up, which definitely set off some alarm bells, me included. And that we will get there with the actual changes. We'll go through the patch notes, but yeah, this dev take was a little concerning. But they did recognize that, Farah is insane. And a couple of and Sojourn just got gutted. Like, they know that those characters were kind of a problem. I didn't realize that Sojourn's win rate went down to 40-4. Sorry, excuse me, I'm on YouTube. Anyways, yeah, just insane. But that's not too much. The mid-season, right? So this is the big one. Transformers collab, let's talk about that. I think these skins are good. I actually really like all of these skins. There were a couple that I was like, oh, I really, really want that one. The rest, I was like, these are also pretty good. Like, I like them. I like the sounds that they make. The highlight intros are pretty cool. Bastion turning into a robot is sick. Pretty good. However, I will say that the skins were really expensive. The bundles were. And there was no free one. There was no, I can hop in and get a free skin. And I feel like that is going to decrease the sales a lot. Like when they had the K-pop collab and it's like, oh, come and play this fun game mode for K-pop, for Le Seraphim, right? And get the skin for playing enough. And then that gets people into the game to play it and buy the skins and make money, right? Where's the Transformers mode? Or at the very least, where's the free skin? It could be an epic. It could be like a highlight intro that's just cool. Anything like that. Where is that to get people in the door for Transformers and then have them stay? ideally, I think with all of these like really big collabs, we should be getting one free skin that we can earn and one and like a game mode that you play with these characters. It doesn't have to be that much. It could just be like 4v4 deathmatch. I don't care, right? Have people come in, play with the skins, get a free skin because they played, and then I feel like that's going to incentivize more people to buy the collab. Now, I think just because you have Optimus Prime Reinhardt, plenty of people bought it. I've seen a lot of these guys running around. So I don't think it was that bad to not have it, but I think there was definitely a lot more that they could have done with this collab. I doubt we'll see anything super big for whatever Lich King collab we're about to get with World of Warcraft. So I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll have something like the Diablo event last year. But yeah, that's that. Summer Games came and went. There was really nothing to it. They didn't really add anything. At least I don't think. They kind of tried to put the lifeguard skins with it, but the lifeguard skins came out like later, if I remember correctly. Summer Games launched. Actually those skins came out the day after it ended. So I already talked about these skins. I like the new ones. I think they're all pretty good. Their highlight intros are fun too. I understand that they're kind of all the same animation. It's a bit of a ripoff, but you know, what are you gonna do? Quick Play Hacked. I made a big video about this. I'm not going to beat it to death. I don't like it very much. I don't think it works all too well. I think a lot of the passives are really boring, but also just give you like, just kind of like make your character stronger without even like changing their game plan. To me, that's really uninteractive. It just boosts character power for basically no reason. The other ones like the 50% cooldown reduction while you're cooldown reduction while you're under 50%. That one was super cool. I think that was really interesting. But I think it's a passive that much rather suits a whole new character designed around it rather than shoving it on any tank possible. I didn't like the Quick Play Hacked. I'll link something just so you can see my full thoughts on it. But yeah, it was a fine experiment. It's a little fun and interesting to get some of those better passives that like you could really feel more, but for the most part I think is a bit of a failure, and I doubt we'll see anything like this, to be honest with you. All right, here we will. No, there's another tab, so we'll skip the Reinhardt for right now. Here's something that I think went pretty overlooked. Blizzard did like a recap your memories since Overwatch 2 launched, I'm pretty sure. So it was like you could just make this video that would show you kind of like your most played heroes and your win rate and stuff like that. I did it on my phone. I don't even know if I'm not going to show it because it shows Hanzo as my most played character, which it's like that was all my old console days when I connected my accounts. So it's a little like all over the place. Some of them are only Overwatch 2 stats. Some of them are like full Overwatch stats. It's really weird. But I think this was a really fun thing that I don't really know why they didn't. It looks like it was only in the US. Sorry, foreign people. That's a weird way to put that. Sorry, anyone who is not in the US. That sucks. I don't know why. Must have just been like Blizzard US doing this. But this was fun. I don't know why they didn't like market this a little more. It was like maybe tweeted and then you got an email about it. But like, who's checking their email for Overwatch stuff, right? Oh, I guess I opened this twice. All right, here is the Mythic skin. I have not talked about this, I'm pretty sure. Not really. I think it is a fine idea, especially now that we know that season 12, and probably it sounds like on and on and on, there will be a Mythic weapon that will come out every season too. Now, is it a little concerning that they're putting this much effort into these $80 cosmetics? Yes, I think so. We'll get there. But taking the cynic out of it, it is nice to have some options for the Mythic stuff, right? Because they value them so highly, at least there will always be options that are in the shop that you can get, like, oh, I really don't like the skin this season. I'm just going to get a weapon instead, right? Like, oh, I didn't get Anna's weapon and I really liked it, but I like that skin better that season. So this season skin's not that great, so I'm just going to get the weapon, right? I think that's honestly like the longer that this keeps going, I think the more that this is going to feel better for everybody. But right now, right when we only found the one mythic weapon and we didn't really have any ties to like when they were coming out, what seasons, it did feel more like a scam. And definitely for $80 to get the whole thing, that is absolutely a scam. Nothing is worth that much at all, right? Everyone always will make like the argument like, oh, you could buy a video game, right? You could play Baldur's Gate, which will last you hundreds of hours for that amount. And it's like, yes, kind of apples to oranges. We all know the prices are super inflated in the free-to-play market. I feel like, it happens, right? Whatever. But it's also like, even in Overwatch, it's like, I could get a bundle, like a battle pass, like, or the collab bundle, right? The Transformers bundle, I think came out to like $60, but like you could get extra, like $50. It was like $50 if you bought it from zero when the collab was going on, basically. You can get 4 skins with unique effects and different things for less, considerably less than one weapon for one character. You know what I mean? Not to mention, I hate the idea of customizable weapons. I've always hated it. I feel like the mixing and matching of aesthetics and skins is just kind of not what Overwatch does. I think one of the interesting things about Overwatch was that they're like, hey, it's just like, we made a skin and we want you to have the full experience of the skin. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, I feel like there's a level of customization that you don't need because it actually keeps the core of like the character and the art design intact, right? Right? Once you start meshing Bound Demon Reinhardt weapon with the cardboard one, it's kind of silly, but I don't know. And then you put like a weapon charm on it. Now it's just like, why would Reinhardt have a weapon charm? Or like, I always say the example, like, why would Doomfist have a weapon charm on his gauntlet, right? Like, weapon charms are the exact same thing for me. It's like, why do we need this customization? I feel like you're kind of ruining the character-driven aspect of the game. And I feel like that is where what people are drawn to. They're drawn to the characters, right? Even though you can't, like, it's first person, you can't see them all the time, they are still drawn to the characters. That's why people buy skins for characters in the FPS game. They're still drawn to them. The weapon is part of that. It's like, if I swap the weapon out, now I literally have there's no reason for me to be wearing this skin. There's a lot to it. I don't really want to go into all of that. Basically, I don't like this. I will probably not buy any of these unless one is like a super duper standout. But yeah, not my favorite thing they've ever added. And again, they're way too expensive, like beyond expensive for what you're getting here compared to other things in Overwatch and just in general value. And of course, we had the director's take about 5v5 and 6v6. You've heard about this. You've probably watched a lot of stuff to death about 5v5, 6v6. You can't go anywhere without talking about it. I've talked about it. I'm not going to go over everything here, but this was a really good dev update. And I do really appreciate what they've said and some of the things that they were talking about here. Just being really open, honest, giving their perspective, being open to, to change. And also just trying to capture the magic of Overwatch 1, regardless of the way that it shapes out. But they're also very cautious about the things that they have to change, and they're taking it very realistically, right? I think it's a really good read. If you haven't read it, you definitely should. Again, I'm not going to go into the weeds of it, but this was really good. Also, there was the Group Up podcast, which I thought was also really good. The stuff that they talked about on there. I'm trying to remember like all the specifics, but it was with Alec Dawson and Aaron Keller, and Flats and SVB were like kind of not grilling them, but they were asking some harder hitting questions that you wouldn't think that Blizzard would allow them to answer, and they were answering them truthfully. So that was also really good. That's a good listen as well, if you want to get up to date on this kind of stuff. I have a couple videos about that, but yeah, I think this was a really good positive turn to the season, because I think a lot of people were dooming on this season for some reasons that we're going to get to, and I think this was a good like message to the future. It's not like concrete like what is coming to the game, But it's good to get this kind of perspective and to get this, like, this is what we really want to focus on. This is what we're looking for. It's great. So why do a lot of people not like this season so much? Well, I think a lot of this comes down to the balance. Now, this initial patch was... This was a mixed bag. This was a mixed bag of initial patch. It also wasn't as big as we all were anticipating, right? It didn't really shake too many things up. Diva got her micro buff. She wasn't super broken yet, but, you know, I'm just going to look at, like, some of these important changes. Jagged Blade now pulling further on tanks is another one of those. Why do we have an ability that does different things to different roles? This is not the first time this has happened. I doubt this will be the last time this happens. I don't like these changes. I think it makes reading the game harder. And especially the ones that, like, make your ability worse against certain roles, just make it be like, why would I even use that ability on that role ever? There's an argument to be made that all knockbacks are worse against tanks. Like, that's true for all knockbacks, right? Against tanks. You know, same thing with, like, Sleep Dart, right? It's like, why would I ever sleep a tank if they're just going to wake up in 3 seconds? Also, this Rampage startup time, I thought this was a juiced change. I honestly think she shouldn't have this. I think there's a lot of skill and risk inherent in the startup time. And also the 0.5 seconds just looks really goofy. Like, it feels like it goes really fast. Even though I love Queen, I wasn't really a big fan of this change either. These are all kind of whatever. Cassidy got the Hinder grenade. What's it called? The flashbang is back with the Hinder effect. I think this is a good compromise. I think it's actually much harder for Cass to it's harder than you would think for Cass to actually, like, secure kills with it. But it is still, like, it brings back that flashbang, like, counterplay potential instead of mag grenade, which just, you know, hits you from wherever it decides it wants to. It's much more defined about how to play around this ability, and I think this is much better. Also, one of my favorite changes that they've actually made in this game, this Deadeye change, I talked about it recently in a video that is not out yet. You'll see it later. I love this. I love this. This brings more layers. It brings more dynamics to Deadeye, and it incentivizes, like, you know, you can make riskier plays with it, but a higher reward. Always great. I think this is a really, really good change. I'm really a big fan of that. May actually making May harder, which is crazy, but they actually increased her damage. I like this change a lot. Reaper they're attempting to make him usable. It didn't really work that well, in my opinion. This Sojourn change actually killed her. I cannot believe that they did this. I am really hoping. I know that she is going to get hit by some health nerfs next season. They better give her something to compensate for this, because her win rate is going to, like, plummet even harder than it is at now. Yes, Sojourn was really good for a while, but this is a higher skill, really fun character. She should not be this bad that she is right now. I definitely would like to see either just, like, a tiny little damage up, maybe a little more, like, headshot damage with this type of damage, so it incentivizes the skill shot rather than the body shot. Anything. I will take anything, basically. Ilyari. This is a change that I don't really like, and it's also part of why Ilyari is really, really good right now. The outburst damage, I actually do like this. More fun. It's more fun to, like, combo, especially if somebody gets on you. I think this is fine. The pylon changes make it really boring, and it's just like pylon is now just pocketing a DPS, or not really a tank. But, like, using for yourself is less viable, so taking further angles is less viable. And that's, like, where Ilyari was fun, and she kind of has to play a little closer to the team. I mean, you know, whatever. And then this one, the no longer cleanses hard knockdown stuns, it just kind of feels wrong. I guess maybe it's just because I'm still not used to it, but I think, you know, if you're going to have a cleanse ability, it should cleanse the status effects right away. I understand why they do this. It just doesn't feel great to me. So, all right. Then we go to July. Blah, blah, blah. This is the first update. We're going to have to go up through them. We got the tank changes. Now, there were a lot of changes at once here. Yeah, it's the armor change. I think this is one of the worst changes that they made. Not the change to armor from Season 10. I'm talking about this change in particular. that makes the damage reduction from 5 to 10. This just makes interacting with tanks with armor so boring. Combine that with the headshot reduction, and it feels like you're just like tickling them at that point. Like it's not even worth to do damage. I don't understand why we can't have this 5 threshold and then anything above it is 30% damage reduction, right? So then tank buster abilities are not as effective, but still okay. Well, and they're not as effective, but those higher burst abilities are not nearly as effective against tanks either. I feel like that would be way better to make those in-between characters like Soldier, Lucio, actually be able to interact with armor again. Maybe we even bring down the damage to like 3 or 4 or something like that, you know, with that kind of change. And then tank generation reduction increased, whatever. Tank knockback resistance decreased. I have not felt this at all. It does not feel any different, in my opinion. So kind of a failure there. Now, of course, let's talk about why a lot of people really don't like... Oh my god, I did not talk about Pharah. Oh, hey, thank you for the follow. Shit. Got the Brad Pitt dying jump scare. Okay. But yeah, let's talk about Pharah real quick before we go into the mid-season and juice. Pharah is really unfun to play against. Her rework wants her to be faster and more in and out and bursty, and that is not how she plays. She can still just play super far back, no like problems at all with doing that, and she's just better. It's harder to catch her or to shoot her when she's over there. So yeah, I think a lot of people really didn't like this season because of Pharah. She was so overbearing. She had nearly a 60% win rate. But now we have a new overlord, which is D.Va, because this DM change mixed with the armor changes, which D.Va has a lot of armor, just makes this character so unfun to fight. Just so unfun to fight. And I love D.Va, but this is like ridiculous. And her DPS is just crazy with that weapon spread reduction and this micro missile damage. It feels like you have to play D.Va, and it feels like what you're doing at all times is just getting negated over and over and over. It feels like you're doing junk because D.Va is eating it so often. Not a big fan of this patch so far with D.Va, to be honest with you. And then I'm just gonna go through and see if there's really anything of note here. This Mauga change, people were reacting really negatively to. I think this was a great direction to make Cardiac without having to completely rework it. Just make it way less but more effective, or way less long, more effective. Much better. It can be shut down much better. It can be avoided much better. Mauga has to actually really time that ability now, or he's just not going to get any value out of it. I think this was generally pretty positive, and Mauga is just not that good because of it right now. So we'll have to see what they'll do with him in the future. I don't like these Ramatra changes because they put more power into Nemesis form, but I feel like he needs more incentive to actually use the Omnic mode. But they even like made it, we'll talk about one, they made a hotfix change that made it even better, which skewed it more towards Nemesis mode. Ryan, Hog, Sigma, Winston, nothing much. Zarya is another one of those characters that has gotten really good after these changes, because her bubbles are so long and have so much health. But yeah, that's definitely like it's kind of the same thing. It's the other side of the mitigation coin, where D.Va is like a lot more active. With Zarya, you're shooting somebody, all of a sudden they just get a bubble for 2.5 seconds, and then now my damage is junk, and now Zarya is running it down on me and all of that stuff. So yeah, Zarya and D.Va are like the tanks right now that are just so unfun to fight, because their uptime for their mitigation is just so much higher than it should be. But that's the initial mid-season patch. There was the hotfix here that made Nemesis form again, or made his Omnic mode worse, I think. Zarya, the bubble duration went down, but it still didn't do that much. Pharah got her health decreased. I think this did definitely keep her away from the meta as much. I have not been seeing Faraz as much, but I think she is still good. This Ilyari, what's it called? Nerf did not do anything. Ilyari is also really good right now. And then Lucio just caught a stray, and I don't know why they did that. We talked about the pickable passes already. And then Juno, I think we'll finish on, this is fitting. This is the season 11 retrospective. So let's finish with looking onwards to season 12. This, what's it called? Limited time trial was great. I think Juno is really fun. I think they've done a really good job with her kit, not making her super overloaded. A lot of people were thinking that she was going to be broken when they saw her kit. I had no idea what they were talking about. I'm pretty sure I was like, no, I don't see what would make this character like Lucio replacement or anything like that. So I'm very excited to see Juno. We know now that she will be in comp on day 1, so they're probably not making many, if any, changes to her, which is fine. I think there were a lot of things people wanted to see out of it, but I think her balance, she's not like super overblown. She might even be a little weak. We'll have to see compared to the rest of the support roster. It might just be we don't know how to play her so much anymore. But yeah, what do I want to see from season 12? I've talked about it already. I want to see a big balance patch. I want to see a big balance patch. I want to see more free skins, for the collab stuff, or event skins, like, oh, you can, even if it's like a Twitch drop, like watch Twitch, get a skin, come in the game, get an epic skin if you play like 9 games or whatever the thing is. I think those go a long way. They really do. People want the free stuff, especially when it's semi-related to the things that are going on currently in the game. So that's really what I want to see from season 12. The Clash changes sound great so far. I'm excited to see the new map, all of that stuff. But yeah, season 12 is it's supposed to be one of the bigger season, has a new mode. It's kind of not feeling like it. Maybe once we get into the season, it'll have more of an oomph. Maybe the balance patch will be bigger, but yeah, that's kind of it. That's what I've got for now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about your feelings on season 11 and what you're looking forward to for season 12. Like and subscribe while you're at it. I do really appreciate that. This was streamed live, twitch.tv/Lane Hemingway. That's going to be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays is when I'm live. Always something to talk to me about. And also join my Discord if you have any hot takes, rework ideas, anything like that. I like looking at those on stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day.